it's Kendra again with WTMAstrology, and today I am talking about Saturn in Aquarius for your individual sign. And today I'm going to be covering Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. And one thing that's going to be important to remember as you watch this is that this is going to be most accurate for your ascendant sign. So I wouldn't watch if you are, a Libra sun, but say a Pisces ascendant. You're going to want to wait for the video that covers Pisces. If you don't know your ascendant, you can check the description of this video, and I will leave a link there that will take you to a site where you can quickly and easily find your ascendant sign. All you need is your birth time and location, etc. I've also included timestamps in the description of this video so you can easily and quickly jump to the sign that's relevant to you without having to watch all the in-between. So without further ado, let's get to the Leo ascendant. Leo, for you, Saturn in Aquarius is moving through your 7th house. Now, the 7th house is an angular house, and anytime you have a planet like Saturn going through an angular house, this pretty much marks a significant life change almost every time. And this isn't always a bad thing. Saturn has some heavy connotations to it, but I just experienced this transit and it really brought me almost nothing but positive things. Of course, it's important to remember that with Saturn, you get what you put in. So it's not going to be great for everybody, but if you've done the work, then this isn't going to be a horrible transit for you, and that goes for all ascendant signs. Anyway, some things that you can expect with Saturn moving through your 7th house. Now, the 7th house is the house of relationships and partnerships, and a common misconception is that the 7th house deals with marriage and romantic relationships pretty exclusively, which is not true. It is about marriage and one-on-one partnerships, but those can be business partnerships, those can be intimate friendships, so all of these areas can be affected. What Saturn is doing in your 7th house is it's feeling out the weak spots in those relationships. During this time, Saturn will be testing your relationship with others, and if those relationships are strong, this can cause a deepening of commitment and seriousness in those relationships. But of course, if those relationships are not strong, they could be discarded under this transit. So basically, what you're going to have at the end of this transit is going to be nothing but the most solid, committed relationships. During this time, you could be reevaluating the way you look at relationships in general. So this doesn't just mean that you'll be getting rid of toxic connections and people that are no longer serving you in your life. This can also mean that you're going to be adjusting your expectations, maybe your ideas of what you wanted out of a romantic relationship or out of a friendship or out of a business partnership are going to be reevaluated. You're going to be forced to look at those again. Maybe what you wanted all this time isn't exactly what you needed. Maybe Saturn under this transit is going to show you what you do need. Saturn is going to show you what you need in these partnerships in order to grow and become better. Committed relationships that are healthy and strong will become more serious and more committed under this transit as well. And you may be discovering healthy relationship boundaries. So quickly, I'm going to share how this transit just went for me, because I literally just ended this transit. I'm a Cancer ascendant, so Saturn in Capricorn was going through my 7th house. Immediately when Saturn entered Capricorn in my 7th house, I started to feel the shift. My relationship with my boyfriend, now my husband, was tested. And as time went on, we began to work out the kinks in our relationship. We started to look at what was really important to us, and that was each other. We really loved each other. We wanted to be together. It was a period of growth for both of us because our relationship had to be tested before it could get to the point where it was flourishing like it is now. And because we respectively decided that the other person was worth changing for and the other person was worth being committed for, we did decide to get married. The main trial was distance. We were long distance for a long period of time before we got married, and we were only able to actually be together after we were married. It just had to get to the point where we were both ready and willing to commit and to give our all to this relationship. And once we did that, Saturn rewarded us with a strong, stable, and wonderful relationship, the best relationship of my life. I'm not saying you will get married under this influence, but it is definitely something that can happen. Saturn does cause a deepening of those bonds, romantic or otherwise. In addition, I took a more Saturnian attitude to my relationships with other people. There were people that I put up with, toxic dynamics that I put up with for a very long time, And under this transit, I said, I'm not doing this anymore, you know? It was much more easy for me to look at these connections realistically and say, this is really not adding anything to my life, and there's no point in putting myself through this any longer. And I was able to, you know, embody Saturn in those situations and eliminate those connections from my life, which was really a long time coming. And because I did that, I was able to look at new dynamics in my life and see how they resembled certain toxic dynamics from my past, and I developed more healthy boundaries. I didn't even step into those situations anymore. It's not easy, but it's a wonderful lesson to learn when you finally are able to step up for yourself and say, I'm not putting up with these toxic dynamics any longer. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Saturn in Aquarius for Leo. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day, Leo. Hello Virgo, for you Saturn in Aquarius will be passing through your 6th house, the house of health, service, routine. So as Saturn does with anything, Saturn will be feeling out the weak spots in this area of your life. When it comes to your health, there may be events that happen that force you to take it more seriously. Hopefully you're already pretty serious about your health and you're in good shape, but there could be unforeseen health complications, either physical or mental, that force you to reevaluate your health and well-being. Hopefully you won't be forced to, and you're already taking good care of your health, and Saturn will bring you nothing but reward, because that's how it works. If you've been taking care of things related to your 6th house, your health, your job, etc., then you won't have as hard of a time with this transit. When it comes to your routine, once again, Saturn will be feeling out the weak spots in your routine, and you'll be seeing the flaws in the way that you conduct your everyday life. Remember, it's your habits that make up a life, and the 6th house has to do with your habits. With Saturn in your 6th house, you will be forced to reevaluate your routines and how they're working for you. This could mean that if you have a routine that is working for you, you experience the benefits of that and a deepening commitment to those routines. Of course, if your routines are not good for you and they're not healthy for you, you could be experiencing some negative events that force you to realize that, unfortunately. So of course, the 6th house also has to do with your work, your employment, not necessarily your career and your long-term public image, but your working situation, the things that you do every day at work. It's possible that your working situation might not be ideal with Saturn in Aquarius in your 6th house. You will be forced under this transit to evaluate flaws in your working environment, and this could have to do with you and your habits while you're at work, or it could have to do with just the working environment in general. You could be forced to let go of a job that's toxic for you. This could also be exposing flaws in the way you approach your working environment. Sometimes with Saturn in the 6th house, you experience the energy of Saturn through your bosses and your coworkers. These could be the people that show you how toxic your working environment is, or they could be disciplining you for the way that you behave in the working environment. In any case, you'll be learning how to operate more efficiently within that working environment, or realizing that you need to escape that environment. If you have a great situation and you feel like you've got your ducks kind of in a row when it comes to the affairs of your 6th house, this could be a really positive time for you. This could be a time when you're striving for a promotion. You might have to work harder, you might have to commit yourself even more than you already have, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you feel like you're in the right profession, the right working environment, you really enjoy your coworkers and your bosses, or even if you're starting your own company, this will be a period of time when discipline is required of you in your routine, but you can really benefit from that. So here's what happened to me when Saturn went into my 6th house. I went through a couple different jobs. And the first job that I experienced under Saturn in my 6th house, this was when Saturn was in Sagittarius, by the way. The first job I had after Saturn entered my 6th house, I felt like I was doing everything right, but of course that's not necessarily what my bosses thought. I was told that they didn't trust me, I was given responsibilities, and I wasn't really coached on how to complete those responsibilities, yet I would be criticized for it later or written up. It was very unpleasant at the time, but I can see how it helped me grow in retrospect. I learned through trial and error what was acceptable in a professional environment and what was not, which is something that's really helped me since I've moved on from there. I also started my astrology business. Under this transit, I started this YouTube channel, and I started my Facebook page, which has a really big following and something that I'm really proud of and am committed to. And I worked really hard on that while Saturn was in Sagittarius in my 6th house. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Saturn in Aquarius for the Virgo ascendant. Thank you so much for watching, Virgo, and have a great day. Hello, Libra. For you, Saturn in Aquarius will be passing through your 5th house, the house of creativity, children, love affairs, and fun. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is not the greatest place for Saturn to be. Saturn restricts, and of course, as we talked about, the 5th house is fun, so restricting fun in simple terms. But let's get more in depth with this. So when it comes to children, here are some things that you can expect. If you have been wanting to have a child, if having children is something that's important to you and has been a focus for you, this could be a time when that commitment to having children begins to deepen and you start to really think about this more. You become more serious about wanting to have kids. If you have children, this could be a period when you learn a lot about parenting. This could be a period of time when parenting feels like an overwhelming responsibility to you. You may be feeling kind of crushed under the weight of the responsibilities that you have to your kids. Saturn could also be exposing either flaws in your parenting or flaws in your relationship with your kids. It could be helping you correct things when it comes to how you interact with your children. Your kids could be throwing curveballs at you during this period of time. You didn't necessarily expect them to do some of the things they do. You're encountering new challenges when it comes to parenting your kids. Or Saturn could be correcting faulty ideas about parenting. So for me, what happened when it came to, parenting under this transit, when Saturn was in Scorpio passing through my 5th house, first of all, I had a baby at the beginning of this transit, so it became more real to me. Saturn is about reality, making you see the reality of the situation. So suddenly I had a baby. I'd always wanted to have a baby, and here she was, a real living creature that I had to take care of. It was much different than how I saw it in my mind's eye, which I think is something that a lot of people realize once they become parents. It was not easy like I thought it would be. It wasn't rosy and fun like I thought it would be. It was hard work, and it caused a lot of anxiety in me, having to face the reality that this child depends on me completely. Also, I experienced something else that happens to a lot of new parents, realizing how completely ignorant and self-righteous they were before they had kids. I had a lot of ideas before I had kids about how to parent children. I was, in fact, the perfect parent in my mind before I became a parent. After I had my baby and I realized what kind of responsibility this was, I had to correct a lot of things in me, a lot of ideas that I had about how easy it would be. You just have no idea what being a parent means until you are a parent. It's just how it is. Children will test you in ways that you never anticipated, and that's just the reality of it. So yes, I had a lot of self-righteous ideas about being a parent corrected under this transit. When it comes to your sense of creativity, you may become more committed to your craft under this transit. Alternatively, you may be feeling stifled creatively. Saturn does restrict, so it could be, writer's block, or looking at a blank canvas and not knowing what to do with it. It could also be exposing flaws in your creative process and helping you refine your creative process. Saturn is also a planet that has to do with business, so this could be a time when you want to turn your creative hobbies into a business, and that would make your creative process feel a little heavier, just knowing that it's not just about the enjoyment of it anymore. If you want to turn that into a business, it becomes more of a responsibility. So I could see that for Saturn in your 5th house as well. When it comes to fun, you may be feeling a lack of enjoyment in a lot of things. You may be feeling stifled socially, which we all are right now with Saturn in Aquarius and this whole social distancing thing that we're all experiencing. We're all kind of feeling that Saturn and Aquarius energy. We're not able to connect to our friends and people that we see all the time the way we normally would. We're not able to interact with our groups the same way anymore. And that way you'll be feeling a lack of fun and a stifled social life. It may be that fun for you needs to be serious and productive, or you feel like it's not really worth having. It could also be showing you that some of the things you were doing before to have fun are not fun to you anymore, or they were harmful to you. It could be showing you that you need to find new ways to have fun and new ways to enjoy yourself that don't involve self-destructive activities. Now with your love affairs, I feel like this could go either way. Now the 5th house is about love affairs. So with Saturn in your 5th house, you could be feeling a deepening sense of commitment in your love affairs, or you could be falling out of love with someone. This could be a period of time when, say you're in more of a casual relationship, when you go into this transit. This could be a period of time when you say, you know, this has been fun, but it's not really what I'm looking for long term. Or it could be a period of time when it's like, wow, like, I think that I could really be with this person for a long period of time, and you might feel more of a deepening sense of commitment to that love affair. This could be a period of time when it ceases to be a love affair and becomes something much more. But in any case, the loving feelings will be tested. It won't be all lighthearted and fun anymore. It's not going to be easy to just be with them and have this fun, casual dynamic. It's either going to go away or it's going to become more serious. That's how I see it. If you're single when you're going into this, this could be a dry period of time for you. And of course, I think for singles right now, they're probably all feeling a little bit disconnected because of Saturn in Aquarius and social distancing and being under self-quarantine and things of that nature. I think that for singles, this could be kind of a dry period of time anyway. But I think that during this period of time, while Saturn is in Aquarius in your 5th house, this could be more of a dry period of time for you, even after things get somewhat back to normal. I think that Saturn could also be correcting the way you do love. So it could just be forcing you to reevaluate the way you've been doing relationships. It could be forcing you to take a more sensible, adult, responsible approach to your love affairs and making you reevaluate the childish, toxic dynamics that you've been involved in up until this point. I think it'll just be getting you ready for the real deal. Anyway, that's really all I have to say about Saturn in Aquarius for Libra. Thank you so much for watching, Libra, and have a great day. Hello, Scorpio. For you, Saturn will be passing through your 4th house. This is the house that has to do with your home life, your family life, and real estate. So when it comes to your home life, there could be a definite shift. During this period of time, you may become more serious about settling down and finding a place where you want to live long term. You may be moving for work as well. You may be establishing yourself in a new location that could make you feel a bit lonely. Or you could be becoming aware of issues that exist with your current living situation and therefore more aware of what you want out of a living situation. There could also be issues with roommates or really anybody that you cohabitate with. When I went through this transit, I moved with my significant other at the time for him to take a job far, far away from my family. So not only was I moving and changing my living situation, but I was suddenly kind of cut off from my family in a lot of ways, which is really consistent with Saturn in the 4th house too. It's like kind of a lack of access to family. And we moved in with one of his friends who was our roommate at the time. We had a lot of issues with him. So there was a lot of drama and kind of tension in my living situation during that time as well. When it comes to real estate, this could be a period of time when you want to actually purchase a home. You could be becoming more serious and committed to the idea of owning something, owning a home for yourself. But this could be difficult. You could be presented with issues when it comes to the purchase of that home, but in the end, those issues will make it all the more rewarding for you. When it comes to your family, like I said, for me, it manifested as lack of access to my family. So you may be feeling cut off from your family in some way, or there may be issues within your family dynamic that are being exposed. Things that you weren't really aware of, or things that you thought you could just put up with until things get more serious under this transit. Saturn could be exposing issues with how you relate to your family. It could be helping you heal these broken family dynamics, or it could be getting you to the point where you realize that you don't really need toxic family members in your life just because they're family. It could be a period of time when you are ready to discard those relationships for your own mental health and well-being. Now, something that we don't always talk about with the 4th house is the fact that this is kind of like your psychological foundation. This is what your emotional center was built around based on how you grew up. So as Saturn moves through your 4th house, this is kind of exposing some of those psychological dynamics, some of the bad habits that were ingrained into you as a child because of your family dynamic. This will be exposing deeply ingrained habits that are just part of you at this point in your life and helping you to realize how those are actually really negative, where they came from, and why they have to go. And it could be negative events that help you have these realizations. You will be reevaluating where they came from and whether or not they're of any use to you at this point in your life. Anyway, Scorpio, that's about all I have to say about Saturn and Aquarius in your 4th house. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day, Scorpio. If you've watched this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Please make sure you like and subscribe so you can keep up with other videos just like this. I will be posting every time we have a major astrological shift. I'll be posting videos like this, as well as all other kinds of astrology related content. Again, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.